Hey guys, Evan Rourke here, back with another video, and today we're going to be doing a review on the Elite Snoke SH Figure Arts Guard. Now, in case you're wondering why this thing is slightly moving, don't worry, it's my finger because I'm kind of holding it because it doesn't really stand well on this kind of a grass surface, so it's not a ghost or anything, don't be alarmed. But yes, this is the Elite Snoke Guard, and my apologies for not really doing, I don't think I've actually done a review in like 2 months, and that's because I've really had nothing to review. After I reviewed my YMSF Kamunga, I didn't really have anything else to review, so I waited until Christmas, and now that we got all these cool things, if you guys have ever saw my Christmas haul, you'd know what they are. You can imagine that I have reviews planned for 2 more months or so. We'll see how it goes, but the first thing on the list is not going to be anything Godzilla related. We're going to save the Godzilla figures and all the stuff I got that's kaiju related for last, and I also got some Star Wars stuff, so we're doing the Star Wars stuff first. This being the first one because I just think it's the most notable, and like I said, it is the Elite Snoke Guard from Episode 8 or Star Wars The Last Jedi, which I understand isn't a good movie, but you got to admit, these guards have a really sick design, and this figure just proves my point. So let's get into the pros about this figure. So my major pro with this figure, I just really feel like it's the best out of everything, is the paint job. I believe the paint job is just beautiful. I think it did a great job. I know you could say, well, it's just one color. You can't really see much of an example with the paint color, and I understand, but the way they painted the paint color is what made it so good. This red is perfect. There's almost no paint scuffs, none at all. I think it's just a really nice job. I mean, this is the material. This isn't the paint. At least I don't think this was painted, but it's like a red material, which is really smooth. It feels really nice, but that's more of a texture detail or whatever it is. So my main thing with this is the paint job. A beautiful red color, no paint scuffs of any kind, at least not any I've seen. And that being said, let's move on to the next thing about this figure. So the next thing about this figure was easily tied with the paint job, but I said paint because it's just a booming red, and I have to go with paint. So I think you guys might know what I'm going to say next, and especially because it's an SH Figure Arts, and well, it's articulation. It's the second best thing, and with SH Figure Arts, they're pretty much, in case you didn't know, they're almost like a more cheaper version of SH Monster Arts, but at the same time, I still think they follow the same rules as SH Monster Arts when it comes to their articulation. I mean, this is beautiful, this articulation here. You could have saw that and thought it was a little stiff, but that's because I'm being a little bit careful with it. I don't want to shake it around or do anything with it. But yeah, it is really nice articulation, really nice. I don't really see any flaws with it. There's no stiff areas, there's no areas where, you know, it's maybe a little bit too flexible, loose, whatever you might call it. And I also think another reason as to why this doesn't have articulation wasn't the biggest thing on this was probably because of the fact that this part of the body, which is like a robe or something, whatever, takes up half of it, and you can't, this isn't, you know, there's no articulated joints here, so it pretty much takes up half of the figure that could have been used for articulation, but you got to stay true to the design, so that's another reason why articulation wasn't the best thing. But it was still really good, I love it for what it is, and let's move on to the next thing about this. So the next thing about this is just a solid average, and that is detail. When it comes to the detail, the only thing that I find most notable is the very detailed lines on the character's face. I think you can see it now since I cleared the camera a little bit, but they're very hard to see in the camera, I guess you could say, especially with this lighting. But detail here with these shading, you know, with these scales, I guess you could call them, and minor line details around the chest. And other than that, the detail is pretty average. I mean, there's nothing that really incredibly stands out for detail because this is an armed guard, and you don't really get much detail out of armory or anything like that. So, yeah, let's move on to the cons of this figure. So, I have one big flaw and 2 major nitpicks. So, let's get the major flaw out of the way, and that is, I know I said earlier that I was holding it, which is why I was slightly trembling, and I'm still holding it. But it's not just on this ground surface, like this grass mat surface that I use for movies and all kinds of stuff that makes it hard to stand. I just think it has a hard time standing in general, and I blame that on the fact that these shoes get pressured because they have movable joints. You see they're bendable right here, right here, but they're pressured by this part of this wardrobe. It kind of presses down on the feet, I'm guessing, and it makes it wobbly and, you know, kind of hard to stand. You could, it's not like it's not standable, because I dealt with stuff like that, and it's not like this, but there are cases where it does fall, and I feel like that is a, not major flaw, but a pretty big flaw. And then, when it comes to the 2 nitpicks, they're really quite minor. The nitpicks I have with this, one being that the shoulder scales right here are a little bit uneven. This seems like it's coming out more, and this one seems like it's pushed back a little bit more. And it's not to blame on the fact that this arm is further back. I've tried my best with it. They just seem kind of weird to move around. Like they don't seem even with whatever joints you should move them in. And finally, the last thing I have to say is just with this arm. I know I said there weren't any loose joints, but as far as but this is purposely made loose to take things out and whatnot, because they're, you could put different hands gestures and such, like with these kinds of figures, but some of them come out too easily, like this. I mean, I don't know, that is like a 0.1 thing off the rating, but it's still a little bit of an issue. And doing the math and all that stuff, that means that I'd rate this figure a 9.2 out of 10. It is a very nice SH Figure Arts, and as far as articulation goes, it's the best thing I got this year for Christmas, and the best Star Wars related thing I got this year for Christmas. So even if you're not a Last Jedi fan, this still is a cool design that you shouldn't really blame the Last Jedi on at all. It's great. So I'd recommend you get this and just SH Figure Arts in general at the end of the day. I hope you enjoyed this review. Remember, there is more to come. Like, comment, subscribe. See you guys later, and bye-bye.